Alright guys, welcome back. Force here, gonna give you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This is a second game here in Xel'Naga Caverns. This time, however, we've got a matchup between oGsTheSC and Razer's Arthur. Kind of flip that around a little bit though, ArthurRAZER. But anyways, yes, we've got Arthur versus the STC here on Xel'Naga. Now, down here in the bottom left position is, of course, our Terran player, oGsTheSC, the red Terran, and right up here in the upper right is Arthur as the blue Protoss player. And what is going on here? This looks like some shenanigans. We have got a probe moving down incredibly early. In fact, he's moving down for that 9 pylon in a proxy location. Oh man, I am excited to see what this brings here. It's not every game that we see some sort of cheese or crazy early aggression, if you will. However, when we do, it goes one of two ways. Either obviously Arthur is going to roll over the STC, or STC is going to pull out a clutch save. So let's see how this one goes. This is going to be, of course, a proxy gateway. Will it be the single gateway, or are we going to be seeing multiple ones? Looks like it will just be the single gateway, so we'll be chrono boosting in some Zealots in front of the STC's base and trying to do massive damage early on. Zealots can be very, very strong, and look at this. Of course, we are having Arthur try to delay the STC as much as possible with this probe scout, and that gateway is just about finished. I am pretty excited to see how this one plays out. Now, let's take a look here. He has, I was going to say, I thought he cut worker production as well. I was like, holy cow, this guy's really going all in for this one right now. Now, we do have the STC going with the relatively normal build. Looks like 10 depot, 12 racks, and 13 refinery is what we're seeing from him. So Arthur, again, will be having Zealots at the front door of the STC momentarily. That gateway is now finished, so we should be seeing those Zealots coming through. Chrono boosted as well, I do expect. We do need another pylon sometime soon as well, so hopefully it's something that we actually managed to do. And he was trying to delay the placement there of that supply depot, but unfortunately didn't manage to happen. And it looks like the SCC is suspicious right now. He's in the under the impression that something funny is going on, and with scouting, he will confirm it there. So now spotting the gateway, here comes that first Zealot, and how is the SCC going to respond? Are we going to see bunker placement or anything like that? Big advantage right now for the STC is that in realizing something fishy was going on, he did finish that wall off. Normally that depot isn't coming through before that orbital command. However, with all of that worker harass, it looks like because of that, the STC was suspicious that we're going to be seeing some sort of cheese or anything like that. And oh my gosh, back home, just coming out with that cybernetics core, realizing the fact that he is going to not be able to do that much damage here with this. Now, one big thing to realize is he is forcing a huge amount of repair there on that supply depot, and that is setting the STC behind. Realize again, repairing does cost resources, so the STC is a little bit behind because of this. Now, if for some reason Arthur manages to defend this gateway, then he actually won't be in the worst of positions. We do have that cybernetics core now finished. A second assimilator is up. Looks like we're going to be seeing a Stalker come out as well. Now, in all honesty, I really don't expect Arthur to be able to pull through with this one. But given the fact that it wasn't actually able to do that much damage here initially with that Zealot harass, I'm really not thinking that he stands that much of a chance. And yeah, of course, we're having the bunker come up as expected. And we're going to see an attempted Stalker push right now with that Zealot. He's going to be able to soften up the Marines. And if he can actually manage to kill off that SCV and prevent it from building, it might be okay. Pulling back that Zealot just in time. And oh my gosh, lifting that up as Zealot trying to move forward. Not that it really makes that much of a difference. And the Stalker, oh no, Arthur's going to lose that Stalker. Needs to be careful. Please take advantage of that speed advantage against those Marines early game and try to stay away. Let your shields recharge and then continue to push up with that second Stalker once it does come through. We do have that warp gate research just about. Oh my gosh. No. That was very, very bad. Arthur really not standing much of a chance anymore. Really couldn't afford to lose that Stalker. It may not seem like a big deal, but that was absolutely huge. That was completely devastating. Now, it looks like what Arthur is in fact going to do here at this point is he will be attempting, sneaking by with the Helion. So we're going to be seeing the STC attempt to move out with that and do a bit of damage. Now, I do expect, in fact, Arthur to try to force field in the STC. However, as we can see, we're going to be getting medevac sometime very shortly. Now, here we go, coming out with this Helion, and he's going to make it into the main base. And unfortunately, right now, Arthur will be forced to warp into Stalker to be able to properly deal with this unless he tries to just use some workers and get a surround on that. Not sure how effective that's going to be. And look at that, forced to pull all the way back right now. Arthur looking to be in, honestly, a terrible position right now. It's at this point in the game that the SCC can just push out, kill that gateway, and then pretty much secure a victory. So there we go. Stalker finally getting the kill from that Helion, but this is a very vulnerable gateway, and Arthur should be losing this in just one moment. Arthur, if he wants to try to stick in this game, I expect him to maybe use some sentry action, try to keep his main safe if at all possible. Ooh, we even get some Banshees coming out for the STC. So this STC is prepared to just stay on one base, push out, and just completely overwhelm Arthur. We do get that Helion, unfortunately, a little mismicro, and ended up attacking the gateway instead of those sentries, which was its intended target. And there we go. Nice force field there by Arthur. Arthur with the beautifully placed force field managed to get a few free marine kills right there, and this is actually going to force him inside of his base right now. Hopefully we do see a medevac action. Oh, we actually see an expansion, so we're going to see the STC get ready to push out with this expansion. Looks like he will be relying on those Banshees early on to allow him to actually leave his base. So Arthur right now warping in, obviously, almost all of his units right now right outside of oGsTheSC's base, and we get that attempted Helion push. The biggest concern right now is this Banshee, though. The Banshee moving forward, and yeah, he's going to start going to town right now. He's going to have to actually force it. At the same time, we get a push coming down here, and he manages to stop the repair of that bunker. Arthur with a very strong push in the main. Now he's got the Banshee in his main as well. Hopefully we see a Stalker. There's going to be 2 Stalkers to deal with that Banshee. That'll be more than enough. That Banshee does not have Cloak. Heavy Stalker plus Sentry push coming out here for Arthur. Managed to do a bit of damage. The fact that he killed that off is unbelievable. Trying to kill off the supply depot as well, but that's going to get a mass repair. So unfortunately for Arthur, he's taking a lot of damage here from these Banshees. Trying to do as much damage as possible. Managed to kill off a few SCVs and still continue to go down. Unfortunately, that Banshee not attacking for some reason right now. Oh, it's still attacking. It looks like the attack animation was bugged or something like that. And successfully defending his base just barely. oGsTheSC will be getting a repair down here on those frontal depots and then continue to churn out units. He's got a siege tank coming out. That's going to help him deal with those Stalkers. Very high DPS. Stalkers continue to push right now. Again, there's no Banshee harass going on anymore for the STC inside of Arthur's base because that was taken out by those 2 Stalkers that were defending the main. Are they still in the main, or did they push out? No, it looks like, oh, there's just 1 Stalker left, in fact, but still, pretty unbelievable turn of events now. We do have those 2 Banshees getting ready to push out right now against Arthur, so these 2 Banshees actually will be very hard for Arthur to deal with. We do have a Observer coming out. Unfortunately, that's a little bit of a mistake because we do not have Cloak Research. However, there's really no way that Arthur could realize that. So here we go right now, pushing forward with some more Stalkers. Now he's got to contend with that high DPS of those tanks. If the tanks can micro themselves properly, they're actually going to be able to tear through those Stalkers, and look at how much damage they do. It's pretty unbelievable. Oh no, unfortunately, getting 1 tank stuck on the opposite side. That gets sniped down. We've got those 2 Banshees sitting idle over here for the STC. Hopefully he pushes forward with that. And Arthur continuing up this aggression. Pushing forward right now. He's got a couple sentries in the mix right now. We'll be moving forward and trying to take out those tanks. Needs to target fire them, and amazingly gets the tanks down. Pretty much all we have left is some SCVs at the same time. Banshees here in the main, and hopefully we see Arthur actually come out with something to be able to deal with that. Lots of Stalkers here in the main, and oh my god, the SCC is in a terrible position right now. Again, he does have these 2 Banshees, but it looks like the Stalkers getting warped in going to be enough, and unbelievably, it looks like Arthur's going to win this game. We've got some Stalkers here in the main, managing to force a burn on that barracks. Looks like they will be target firing down. We do have a couple of SCVs trying to move forward and get us around. Here comes that Banshee as well. However, Arthur has still got some successful mining going on. Should be getting some reinforcements down here as well. We'll be target firing down that tank. Then it looks to be going for that Banshee. Actually going to be forced to micro back right now. The STC repairing his racks. We've got full-on mining here for Arthur. Arthur just needs a few more warp-ins, and he should be sitting pretty comfortably there. Really, unfortunately, the STC is so unbelievably behind right now. I really cannot believe that Arthur has managed to do as well as he's doing right now. He's still in this game unbelievably, and the biggest thing is that he's got some really solid mining going on right now. Looks like he's going to attempt to force a burn, but then turning to engage right now these Marines, the tank, and that Banshee. The Zealots continue to chase down, managing to kill off that Marine. Pushing forward right now, we'll be target firing down that tank, and then turning around and going to be retreating momentarily. Hopefully we get some more warp-ins. There we go. We have got 3 more Stalkers coming on through. Was pretty unbelievable. He is really no transition prepared for either player right now, and we're going to see continued aggression here from Arthur. He's moving forward. We'll be target firing down those Banshees right now, and there it is. oGsTheSC calling the GG. That was unreal. Arthur opened up this game with a proxy gateway, chrono boosting out his initial Zealot and then pushing forward to do a little bit of harass against the STC. However, the STC, realizing something funny was going on, actually managed to complete his wall off before his orbital came through, and unfortunately that greatly inhibited Arthur's ability to do damage with this initial Zealot. Arthur then followed up with some Stalker harass, getting an initial Stalker, then chrono boosting on a second one as well. He did attempt to prevent the building of this bunker. Unfortunately, didn't manage to do so, and unfortunately as well, with a little bit of missed micro, losing that initial Stalker, greatly cutting back on the amount of harass he could do early on. The STC managed to sneak out a Helion and get it into the main of Arthur. He did a little bit of econ harass, but really not that much. A good response here by Arthur, as well as getting a Stalker back home to take care of that Helion. The STC attempted to push out against that gateway, however he ran into a warp in of units. Now one big thing to note as well is the STC did manage a transition here into Banshees, and with that he did push out for a counterattack. As the STC was moving out with his Banshee, Arthur pushed forward with the Sentry Stalker heavy force, placing some nice force fields to prevent the repair of that bunker and get off quite a bit of damage. He then went to work at the front wall, however not breaking through, he still managed to do a bit of damage. At the exact same time, we did have the STC's Banshee in the main, which managed to kill off a few workers. However, the warp-in of 2 Stalkers was enough to repel this Banshee back, and then Arthur was comfortable mining in his main again. Arthur was relentless with his aggression at the front of the STC's base, and with continuous reinforcements, he was eventually able to bust through that frontal wall and get his units inside of the STC's main. The STC attempted some follow-up Banshee harass, however again Arthur just warping in a few Stalkers was more than enough to deal with it. There was an observer here as well just in case those Banshees had cloak, however that was kind of unnecessary because they lacked it. After breaking into the main, Arthur sealed his victory, killing off so many workers and doing so much damage. It only took another reinforcement warp-in or 2 until he won the game. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this game between the STC and Arthur. Pretty interesting indeed, I would have to say. As always guys, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.